Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Big Green Draw 2020, A Climate of Change. My name is Kirsten Komorowski, and I'm the Executive Director of the Walt Disney Family Museum. Our museum has been partnering with the Big Draw since 2015, and while this year may look a bit different than past years, we're thrilled to again be participating in this worldwide celebration of drawing. The Big Draw Festival promotes the universal language of drawing as a tool for learning, expression, and invention, and is a global movement encouraging people to draw. The magic of drawing was fundamental to Walt Disney as he built his groundbreaking studio alongside his many talented artists and animators. And here at the Walt Disney Family Museum, we strive to continue his vision of creativity and innovation. Participating in the Big Draw is just one of the many ways we honor Walt's achievements. Consistently ahead of his time, Walt Disney also recognized the importance of inspiring younger generations to not only understand, but to preserve our natural world and the wonderful creatures that we share this planet with. He was the first to capture an audience's attention by pairing never-before-seen wildlife film footage with enriching storytelling in his True Life Adventures documentary series, earning him 8 Academy Awards. The theme this year, A Climate for Change, focuses on the relationship we have with our living environments and ecosystems. In an effort to remind artists that sustainability can be applied to many artistic endeavors, the Big Draw has now become the Big Green Draw, supporting a positive harmony between people and the planet. To help bring further awareness to today's theme, we are thrilled to collaborate once again with the Jane Goodall Institute's Roots and Shoots program. The Walt Disney Family Museum was honored to host the world's leading primatologist and conservationist, Dr. Jane Goodall, at a special fundraiser last year. The event not only celebrated her outstanding achievements and life's work, but also launched our museum's partnership with her youth activism organization. Roots and Shoots aims to empower young people to take action and effect positive change in their local communities, as well as in the world around them. To learn more about the incredible work Roots and Shoots does and ways you can get involved, please be sure to tune in to our Tree of Hope workshop with National Youth Leader for Roots and Shoots, Videhi, at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time today on our Facebook or YouTube page. We hope you enjoy today's full schedule of sustainability-focused virtual workshops, story times, and more. We are so grateful to our members and followers for their unwavering support during our temporary closure, and we look forward to welcoming you back to the museum very soon. If you would like to continue to support our array of virtual programming and initiatives, you can join as a member at waltdisney.org/membership or consider a donation at waltdisney.org/donate. Stay tuned because up next, we have former Disney animator and wildlife artist, Blaise, here to teach us how to draw wild animals. Thank you and enjoy the Big Green Draw, A Climate for Change.
Hey everybody, my name is Blaise and I was a Disney animator for over 21 years, and during that time I learned how to draw a lot of different animals. You may have seen movies like The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast and all that kind of stuff. Well, I was one of the animators that worked on those films. As a matter of fact, on The Lion King, I animated young Nala, the little lion cub. And so over the years, I've been able to draw lots of different animals, and I wanted to show you today some of my simple approaches on how I draw animals. And hopefully you can pick up some of these tips and you can draw animals yourself. So why don't we go back to my drawing board right here. And you'll see I've got a piece of paper here. I'm drawing digitally, but you can draw on paper and pencil. You can use crayons. You can use anything you want. If you have an iPad and you want to draw on that, you can do that as well. But the idea is I want you to draw. So grab your pencil, grab your stylus, whatever it might be, and let's just draw a circle. Draw a nice simple circle right there on your paper. We're going to start out very, very easy. If you draw a line on top of that circle, off to the side a little bit like this, and then bring a line down here, like so, we're going to use this circle as a guide, and then another line coming out that's in the same direction as that top line, okay? And then we're going to draw a long curved line coming down, and then curve it down the other way. Here we go, just curve it right down. And then here, we can draw another line that's slightly curved, like this. Now look, it's starting to feel like something, isn't it? Now where these two lines come together, let's draw a line going straight up, and then another one that curves down and attaches to where that circle is. Just like that. And now we can draw another curved line coming off of that, like this, and let that come around. Just like that. Now if you have an eraser, come in and just erase away right there where those lines go through. Look at that. Now you can come in here and you can put some extra lines like this, like fur. And I'm going to erase our circle over here. And just erase that back a little bit. It doesn't have to go all the way, just like that. And now, let's bring another little curved line in here. Look what we've got. We're drawing a very simple drawing of a dog. But what's very important is making sure that this line and this line are straight together. They go in the same direction, because that is the trait of a dog. You know, one of the things that I always try to think about when I'm drawing animals is I think about their structure that's underneath, their skeleton. Notice how I'm darkening the front right here. There we go. You can go in there with a dark pencil and just darken that front. I always try to think about what's happening underneath the skin. Here we go. Do another, almost like a rounded triangle. Like if you draw a triangle like this, okay, try turning it like this a little bit. All right, so we're going to draw a triangle like that, but try drawing it rounded. Each edge rounded a little bit, okay, like that. And what that can do, and then bring up this top little piece right on top, just like that. Now look what you've got. You've got an eye. You can bring up a little bit of the eyelid right here, just a little piece, and bring that down. Look at that. Now let's bring another line right here, and another right there. Notice how I'm drawing the pupil off towards the front a little bit more. Look at that. Now if we follow our muzzle down a little ways, right, if we draw a line straight down, right here where it hits, we can start to bring the mouth up. Just bring it up here like that. And look at that. What have we got? We've got a dog. Very nice and simple. That's how we draw dogs, or how I draw a dog. Very, very simple. If you're just starting out drawing, which most of you are, I want you to see that you can approach it with simple shapes and you can make different animals. What happens if we want to draw a cat? Let's try drawing a cat from the front. Well, once again, I start with a circle. There, get that circle nice and round. And then right along, almost in the middle, let's just lightly draw a line going across. Okay? Just like so. And then right down the middle, let's draw a line going down. And this is going to help us divide up the space so that we can find where we want our eyes and our ears to go. So if we divide this space in half, let's draw a line up. right there. Make a little tick mark. And let's divide this space in half and draw a line up. And there's our little tick mark right there. This is going to help us decide where our eyes and ears are going to go. Because right here, right where this comes up, we can draw our ears and have them come down like this. Draw an ear coming up here. Have it come down like that. Now here, where the lines come across for the eyes, come up just a little bit higher and come out like this. Up just a little bit higher and come out like that. And look, we can make our cheeks coming out. Just like that. Now right where our lines cross here, just like that, I want you to draw circles. A circle there and a circle there. You see that? Now if you take those circles and you add a little bit more pencil, just draw so that it gets a little heavier on one side, and you might even put a little point on it like this. Look at that. See that? Let's do the same thing on this side. Make it a little heavier. Give it a little point on it. Just like that. Look at that. We're getting some cat eyes. Now, one of the things that cats have is a dark corner to their eye right here. So let's make that a little dark. We'll make this a little dark. There we go. Now the other thing that cats have is a pupil that's long and tall. So let's do that. Now look at that. We've got cat eyes. Now if we come down, come right down the center, come about halfway down between this line and the bottom of our circle, and here we can draw a triangle. Coming across, coming down like this. Just like that. And if you draw really dark, you can draw a nostril and another nostril. Just like so. Now once again, let's come down about halfway between the bottom of the nose and the bottom of the circle. And we can draw a line that comes down and breaks off this way and this way. And draw all the way to the circle. See there? Now let's go down to here and down to here. And then here, we'll just come in just a little bit. You can draw that little chin. Just like that. Now let's come in and start cleaning this up. Let's erase right here. Just a little bit. And if you draw a little line coming off of here, and a little line coming off of here, it's going to look like he's smiling a little bit. There we go. And then if you want, you can draw a little bit of a curve coming off, just like this, and draw it coming up like this, very lightly, and you've got the snout coming down. Now let's erase that right there. And we'll erase our old lines that we had. There we go. So look at that. We've got a cat. Now we can give him we can give it eyebrows. His eyebrows will actually give our animal drawings lots of expression. So here, you can just put an eyebrow up here, and maybe the other one we make a little bit higher. Just like that. They don't have to be exactly the same on both sides. See how if you think about drawing with shapes, you can take your time and you can make lots of different animals. Now if we erase this part right here and erase this part right here, like that, now it starts to feel like a fluffy cat. And you can even come in and put some lines in like this and make it feel like fur. Now, one thing that we're missing that all cats have, let's put some fur up here too, but one thing that we're missing that all cats have, and I know you've probably thought of it already, we've got to get those whiskers in, don't we? So let's go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There. Look at that. Now we've got a cat. Just by starting with that circle and finding and dividing it in half and finding where to put those eyes and then dividing in half again, finding the nose and then the mouth. And you can try different variations of this and come up with all kinds of different kinds of cats. Okay, so now that we've got a dog and a cat head, why don't we try drawing the whole body? Let's try a dog first. Well, first of all, I want to start with a circle again. Just like that. Now a dog has a neck. You know, animals, dogs, cats, elephants, all kinds of different animals, they all have the same parts that we have. They just have them in different proportions. They're shaped differently on their bodies than they are in ours. And I'll show you what I mean. Here we'll draw a circle for the head. And then I'm just going to draw a line through the body. I want to give a nice curved line through the body. And on that, we're going to build a body. So if we think about the head first, remember we drew that line on top and then a line coming down and then that line for the nose. But now I want to follow this line. This is called the line of action. We're going to build the body right on that. So here I want to build the neck on there. See how that goes? It's almost like the spinal cord, your spinal column that goes from the base of your skull all the way through down your back. And that's what we're going to build the body on. So we'll put those ears on here like this. And this time I'm going to draw it so we can see the other ear. Just like that. And then here, you're going to see a little bump. Right where that curve starts to go the other way, at the base of the neck. And if you come down your neck, if you feel down your neck, you'll feel a bump. That's your shoulders. And then you go around to your back, and those are your shoulder blades. And dogs and cats, they have shoulder blades too. It's just that they've moved to the sides of their body. Where we have them on our back, dogs and cats have them on the side of their body. So their shoulder is right here. There's a shoulder. And you have a shoulder. You can feel that. So if you come down, follow your neck down to your shoulder, there it is. Let's come back up here and give him his eye. Or we had that round. There we go. That rounded triangle. There's that nose. There, we'll just do that. So now, we come down and see the shoulder. And then if you feel on your arm, you go from your shoulder down to your elbow. That part of the arm between your elbow and your shoulder, that's your upper arm. And you have an armpit and everything. Well, so do dogs. That comes down. And there's a upper, but their upper arm is short. And it comes down to an elbow right there. So if you look, there's his shoulder, just like you have. There's his upper arm. It's short, but you have that too. And then if you go between your elbow to your wrist, that's your lower arm. And dog has that as well. So we're just going to follow that down. And notice how those two lines kind of come together like that. See that? And then if we move your hand around, you can see where your hand connects to your arm. That's your wrist. Well, a dog has that too. And then that comes out. And they have on the palm of your hand. A dog has that. If you've ever looked at a dog's, the bottom of their feet, you can see the pads of their feet. Well, that's like the palm of your hand. Now we're going to simplify it. We're just going to make it nice and round. We might put a couple of toes in there, like so. So there, see that? So now we've got the dog's head and arm. Now, you think of it as a dog's leg, but it's like our arm. It's the same kind of thing. So let's continue back. We'll follow that back all the way down his back, and you can see that curve. See that curve in his back? We have the same curve in our back, just like that. Okay? Now let's follow the line off the bottom of the neck. And if you follow that back through the arm, you'll feel it go through the rib cage. If you feel the front of your body and your ribs, that's what we're drawing on the dog. And then it comes back like so. Now if you reach down below your arms, put your hands on your hips. You can feel your hips. Well, dogs have hips too. That hip is right there. Remember, we all have the same parts. They're just all shaped differently. So there's the hip right there on the dog. And if you come off that hip, if you feel off the front of your hip and go down to your knee, that part of your leg between your knee and your hip, that's your thigh. So we're going to draw that. So we're going to go from his hip down to his knee, which is right about where his body is, right here. Just like so. Then we'll come down to his rear end, right down to the bottom of your back, and that comes down. And just like the upper arm in the front, where his is shorter than ours, it's the same thing with his thigh. His thigh is shorter than ours too. Okay? So look, we've got a dog happening. And we're doing it because we know that they have all the same parts that we have. So now we've gotten to the knee. And if you go from the knee to your ankle, feel that distance from the knee to your ankle. And you can feel muscle on the back of your knee. That's called your calf muscle. Well, dogs have that too. So we're going to go down to the ankle, which is here, and feel that rounded calf muscle right there. There it is. Now notice how it's shaped differently on the dog, but it's still there, just like it is with us. So now let's go from the ankle down to the foot. So when a dog walks, they're actually walking on their toes, and their ankle sticks up in the air because this bone and this part right here is actually their ankle. This is his heel, just like we have. And then these are the toes right here. And then let's continue this line back. And now we've got a tail. And here you can make it shaggy. Just like that. And here, I'm going to bring the other leg down. I'm thinking about the hip on the other side of the body. It comes down and it bends. Remember, the other calf comes down and it bends to the ankle. And there's the other foot, right there. And an ankle right there. See, I just do that as like a little V. Let's put the other shoulder out here, and we'll reach out. There's the arm and the leg, and we'll bring the elbow in, just like this. Reach out. Now, if you look at a dog's paw, they've got another toe way up here like this. That toe on the inside of their foot. That's called the dew claw. But you know what that is on us? That's our thumb. So if you look at a dog and you see that little claw, that little toe up high, that's the same part as if it's our thumb. Right there. Just like that. So now if we erase our little guide drawing in here, now we've got a dog. Look at that. You see there? Let's give him a smile. Give him some squishy cheeks. There we go. There. Now one thing we can do is let's shade him in. You can do it with your pencil, just nice and lightly. Just shade him in. That way he stands out a little bit on the paper. I always like to shade in my drawings. And don't worry if you go outside the lines a little bit, that's okay. And you'll notice that my paper isn't white. Sometimes I work on white paper. But most of the time I like to work on paper that has a tone to it. That way I can use white on the paper too. And I can use that to help draw attention to certain areas to make it look better. There. That looks pretty good like that. Let's try doing a cat. Now let's do the same thing we did before. Now this time, let's have a cat maybe sitting there. So let's do a circle. And let's tilt his head. Maybe turn it off center just a little bit. So we'll draw those lines coming up. We're going to put ear here. And an ear here. Sometimes cats like to tilt their heads a little bit. So that's what we're going to do with this one. So there we go. And we'll draw those cheeks out. Just like that. Now, just like we did with our dog, let's draw a little line of action through the body. Just like that. Just a very simple little line. And what we want to do is build on that. So now, I'm just going to draw another oval right on the face. This is another way of doing it. We'll just draw another oval right there. Just like that. Here I'm going to bring a line down here and a line here off the cheeks. See that? And I'm going to let this come together right here. See that line like that? That gives us our collars. That's where the collarbone is. And off of that, are just like on a person, there's our shoulders. And our shoulders here. See that? Now we're going to come back to the head. And we're going to draw an oval right there. And an oval right there. See, we did it before as a circle, but here now I want you to try to do it as an oval. And we can do our little points. Our thick eyelashes, just like that. There, see that? And this time, let's push the pupils way up high. So now our cat's looking up. We can have our cat just kind of looking off into another direction. And then here, just off center, I'm going to draw that triangle again. This time I put a little curve on the top of it. And come down. We do our little V like we did before. And our curve for the muzzle. But this time, I'm going to give it a little smile. See there? And here, because she's looking up, let's lift this eyebrow. We're going to put an eyebrow way up here. Like that. And then this eyebrow we'll put way down here. Now look, it looks like she's looking up. By pushing that eyebrow up, we're giving her an expression. See that? So let's continue down through. So here we've got the body and the chest coming down. We've got to figure out where those arms are. Well, there's a leg that comes down here, an arm, and one that comes down here. And just like on the dog, if we look over here, we have a shoulder and an upper arm and an elbow. Well, here from the front, we've got a shoulder, an upper arm. The elbow is hidden behind. We'll bring this in here like this in here like this. There, like that. And if we draw a straight line coming down, right where that line is for the elbow, or for the break in the arm, the bend in the arm, I'll have that come together like that. Now, you just put a little round feet on the bottom. See our little round feet. Come down. Just like so. See that? Have those legs come down. We got little round feet. Now remember, I had you draw this as a curve coming down this way, right? Well, I want us to follow that body. Follow the body following that curve. Just like that. Let's bring that behind the feet. And we'll bring the other part up here like that. That's the belly. Now, we know that cats' legs bend like a dog's. Okay? Now, just like we have when we sit on our butt and we put our feet on the ground, our knee has to be up in the air. So let's put that knee way up in the air like this. There's a line that comes up. We're going to bring that down. So there's the thigh coming down like that. And then the rest of the leg comes down like this. The ankle is on the ground. And here's the back foot coming towards us. Just like that. There. And we have to do it on the other side. So there's a leg, knee, comes down, and then there's the other foot right there. There we go. There's one thing we're missing, right? We're missing that tail. And here I want to draw a tail coming up and make a nice, because it's a cat, and very elegant, I want to make a nice S shape to that tail. Nice, long, fluffy tail. There. So there's our cat with the tail. The only thing we're missing now is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There. So let's add some tone to this guy. This time I'm just going to draw around here, but I'm not going to color in the eyes. I'm going to leave the eyes open, not colored in. There we go. Now it pops out a little bit better. Put a little tone on here. There. So now we've got a dog and a cat. Now that you know all those different parts to the body, all you have to do is change those shapes around and you can come up with different animals. Let me show you what I mean. Here I'm going to start with a circle again. And I'm going to draw a line through the body again, just like we did with the dog, right? But this time I'm going to make the animal a little different. What if I draw the line on top like we did with the dog, but don't draw the forehead quite as big, and we're going to draw the line coming out the front just a little bit different, like on a dog. But now we're going to make this a little bigger. And maybe we make the ear, instead of pointed, let's round it like this. Okay? And when we draw the neck, let's make the neck really thick. And maybe there's some fur coming off the bottom. And we make that really thick. We have the nose just like we do on the dog. Okay? And on the eye, maybe we make the eye a little smaller. Like so. Okay? When we get to the shoulders, maybe we make the shoulders really big. Like there's a big hump right there. And we have lots of fur coming down right here like that. And here comes the shoulders coming down. And right there's a big shoulder. And remember, we have that upper arm. Well, maybe that's big and thick too. Maybe that forearm coming down from the elbow down to the wrist, maybe that's really thick. And it comes in, and we're just going to have them stand there, and we have big claws coming off the front. But it's still drawing a foot the same way we would on a dog. We're just changing that shape a little bit, right? Maybe there's more fur coming off of here. But see how that's the same shapes, just pushed just a little bit different. What's it look like we're making now? Kind of looks like a bear, doesn't it? Let's do another one coming down. Now he's just standing there like that. And now instead of a long slender body like we did with the dog, let's give him kind of a big round kind of fat body. Like that. See that? Kind of a big fat body. All that fur coming off. But on a bear, we're going to draw that curve coming back. There's still a hip. Remember we were feeling where our hips are? Well, that hip is still there. And a bear, the leg comes down and it still connects at the knee. Just like with us. And there's a thigh that comes down. And that still comes down. But what's different with a bear than a dog? Well, there's a lot of things that are different, but one of the main things is that when a dog or a cat is standing on the ground and their back legs are on the ground, it's just they're standing on their toes and their ankle and their heel are up in the air. But with a bear, they walk like us. Their heel is on the ground. It's still the same parts, remember? Still all the same parts, but they're just on the ground. So they walk with their heel on the ground just like we do, just like you do, just like your mom and dad do. Just like that. We can bring this other leg back, like we're seeing behind, and we'll draw it on the ground, like that. There. So now you can see here's a bear with both feet. Now let's pull up the other drawings. So here I've pulled up the other drawings so you can see that, look at the comparison between the dog and the bear. You can see they've got the same parts, right? We got the head, we've got ears, but on a bear it's more short and rounded, right? Well, they've got a neck, But on a bear, it's thicker and more shaggy. On a dog, it's more slender. You've got shoulders, but on a dog, it's a little bit more slender. The front legs are a little thinner. On a bear, you still have the same front legs. It still moves around the same way, but they're thicker. They have more muscle. We've got a body that goes through to the back legs, but once again, on a bear, it's thick. They're fat. They have to hibernate for the winter. You got to go to sleep, and they need to store all that fat. And then they have hips. They both have hips just like one another. Then they have back legs, a thigh, and then from the knee to the ankle, they have that calf, the calf muscle. That's all still there, but what do I always say? We all have those same parts. Every animal has the same parts, mammals, but they're just shaped differently. There we go. So there, we've got a bear, a dog, and a cat. Let's try one more. Okay, let's do another one. Once again, we're going to start with our circle. Just like that. We're going to draw our line through it. Just like that. See that curve? This time, let's have some fun with it. Let's push it a little bit. Let's give it a thick neck. Strong shoulders coming through here. Maybe those shoulders are coming forward. And then we're going to get stretched skin. Like if you pull your arm way up high over your head, you can feel that skin stretch under your arm. That's what's going to happen on this animal. And there's the elbow coming forward. And then there's that wrist that bends down. And we have the feet coming down like that. Just like that. Now what are we drawing? Well, I'll show you. We're going to have the line on the top of the head, just like on the dog, come down. Give it a little bit of a forehead. But instead of making the next line go the same direction as the line on the top of the head, we're going to bring it down a little bit. It's going to go downwards. And then we'll square it off like this. Okay? The ears up top are going to be a little bit rounded. See, I'm making them rounded like that. And let's give a round chin. See that round chin coming off like that? And then into the neck. And here we can even have a little bit of a jaw. Right there. Okay? And let's do the other arm on the other side. Reaching through. Oh, there's the other wrist. And the other foot. Coming down like that. Okay? Now we're going to come through. We're going to draw that back. All the way back. Nice curved line. We're really pushing this. We're going to really stretch it. And if we go just a little triangle, half of a triangle, like that, there we go. Once again, we do a little triangle, like that. And then we made a long, dark mark right there, off the eye. And if you do this, and now the curved line right there above the chin, and make that kind of dark like that. There. What does it look like we have? Well, let's give it some whiskers. It's starting to feel like a lion or a lioness, right? Because she doesn't have a mane. But what if we do this? What if we draw right on top? And we'll go whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Hair coming back. It's all whooshing back. See that? And then we draw this, come all the way back to here. And maybe we have hair like this. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. And it comes off of here. And it all comes down like this. Just like that. Let's color this in. Nice and dark. We're just going to color it right in. We're going to leave the ear. There we go, right in front of that shoulder. There. Now we've got a lion with a mane. Now let's bring this down just a little bit. We'll bring that mane down a little bit there. There. Now, let's bring that belly and the chest all the way around like this. And there's those hips. Remember we drew the hips on the dog and on the bear? Well, the lion's going to have that too. And here, this time, we're going to pull those legs back. So it goes from the hip to the knee, but this time we're going the other direction. And bend that knee, but this time we'll make it just a little bit straighter. There's the calf coming down. There's the ankle. Look at that, right to our foot. So now you get this nice long kind of curve going into the leg. See that? And then let's draw the other knee here. And the other foot here. Like that. And then here, you can draw that tail going right off the page. Look at that. And here I'll draw a couple very light lines coming around, showing how that body's really stretched out because our lion is running really fast. See that? So if you think about the different parts of the animal and then you change their shapes, you can turn them into other animals. There we go. So by changing the shape of the head a little bit, we turned it from a dog into a big lion. By changing the shape on the neck, we went from a dog to a bear. But if you look at the head, I'm going to circle a couple of these areas. If we look at this, and this, and this, they all have a head. They all have the neck. See? But they're just shaped differently, aren't they? They're all just shaped just a little bit differently. They all have shoulders and an upper arm and front legs, shoulders, upper arm, front leg, shoulders, upper arm, front leg. See, they all have those same parts. See how the body comes back like this. The body comes back like this on this, but it's fatter. See, now you got a bear. And if you do it long and a little bit more stretched out, you've got a lion. And notice the legs. There's our thigh, and there's our calf. There's our thigh, and there's the calf. There's the thigh, and there's the calf. See, they're all the same, just shaped a little bit different. And then you have the ankle down to the toes. Ankle down to the toes. Ankle down to the toes. This is how I approach drawing animals. This is what I learned when I was making the Lion King. This is what I learned when I made Raja from Aladdin. These are all really fun animals to draw. And so what I challenge you to do now is to try going away and take some of these lessons that I taught you and try drawing your animals with different shapes and then change those shapes and you can come up with different animals. So I hope you learned something today. Go on out there, do some drawing, put some beauty back into the world, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.
Panthera, Africa, the big cat sanctuary, all the way from Stamford, South Africa. A big thank you to Walt Disney Family Museum for inviting us to share our common mission at this year's Big Green Draw Festival. My name is Vanessa, and I can't wait to tell you what we are all about here at Panthera, Africa. Panthera, Africa is a rescue facility for our big cats. So this means that we do not work directly in conservation. However, we do host educational visits for the public to come and learn all about not only our big cats, but conservation of the big cats.
Panthera Africa was founded by two amazing women, Lizanne and Catherine, and they started with a lot of love and one big dream. Now, 5 years later, Panthera Africa is home to over 25 animals.
Panthera Africa is a true sanctuary for all of our big cats. This means that we have no breeding, no trading, and no interaction. Our main focus is animal welfare and education. And I can't wait to educate you guys today about not only our big cats, but the issues that they face worldwide.
Lions are now a threatened species. A century ago, there was over 200,000 wild lions, and today we only see about 20,000. They've already gone extinct in 26 African countries. However, these breeding facilities are not helping the lion population to increase or have their goal in conservation at all. Breeding facilities around the world are only breeding lions for profit and for money in their pockets. We see a nasty cycle of abuse of these lions, and it is unfortunately a trap for us animal lovers. While lions and lionesses are producing cubs in these breeding facilities, their cubs are usually taken away from their mothers within days to become socialized with humans. Now, naturally, a lion cub has a long relationship with their mother, but the quicker the lion is used to or acclimated to humans, the better of a money-making photo prop they will be. That's right, it is very popular as a tourist attraction to have your photos taken with a young lion cub. Although this might sound tempting because lion cubs are so cute, it is never a good life or outcome for the cub. Unfortunately, we see that these cubs in many places are only legally allowed to be handled by the public for a short amount of time. So that is a lot of cubs being bred for money that can only be used for a short amount of time. So what happens when they can't be used as a photo prop anymore? Well, when they are too big to be handled by the public, they move on to their next tourist trap, which is when the public can go walking with a pride of lions without a fence. The tourist is only provided with a walking stick between them and the lions. Once the walking pride of lions hits their sexual maturity or ability to produce cubs, they are typically sent right back into a breeding facility to start the process all over again. Now, if there are lions in this process that are no longer able to produce cubs, or are too aggressive to be with the public, or even if they are just absolutely beautiful, they can be sold into something called a canned hunt. A canned hunt is a legal practice where tourists can pick out a lion of their choice, pay a good amount of money, and be able to shoot that animal in a cage and take it home as their trophy. And we have to remember to make the connection that these lions are meant to be socialized to humans. So many lions don't have a natural fear of the human during the hunt. That doesn't seem fair to me. Ultimately, the lions we are cuddling are only growing up to be someone's trophy. Here at Panthera Africa, we have rescued many animals from breeding facilities like this, and there are about 300 of them in South Africa alone, and only 5 true sanctuaries, Panthera Africa included, really working for the welfare of these animals and educating about this legal deceit. Lions also face one more tragic issue, the bone trade. Although traditionally tiger bones are more used in the animal trade because of their ancient tie to Asian medicines, tiger bones are getting harder to produce. But with the massive numbers of lions in breeding facilities, which reach around 11 to 13,000 lions, we are now seeing lion bones in the animal trade. Here in South Africa, it is legal to hunt 800 lions a year for the bone trade alone. Now, one thing always brings me hope, and that is that animal lovers have a big voice. And if you believe this cycle of abuse is wrong for these lions and want to help us break the cycle, to break the chain, say no to canned hunting, say no to the bone trade, say no to photographs and petting cubs, and we may start to see the number of abused animals drop. We are so happy that Obi and Oliver were able to be taken from this horrific cycle and can now live their life in peace. Cheetahs are known for their docile nature. Unfortunately for the cheetah, humans have taken advantage of this docile behavior and have made claims that cheetahs can be domesticated. However, they can never be truly domesticated. Even when we think about our house cats and dogs, it took thousands of years to domesticate the house cat. The cheetah's wild population is also declining because of poaching, habitat loss, but also the human interference. Cheetahs are being exploited around the world and passed off as ambassador animals for teaching methods. However, regardless of how docile an animal can be, living a life not wild and free for money is not fair for that animal. And because we are more focused on keeping cheetahs in cages, on leashes, and in our homes, their wild population is being neglected and quickly dropping. Regardless of how calm an animal may seem, we always need to remember that these animals are literally built to hunt and kill, as they are carnivores. Cheetahs are the fastest land animal, reaching speeds of 98 kilometers an hour, and they are skilled hunters. Unfortunately, for any animal used for human interaction needs, they need to be safe to handle for legality's sake. Unfortunately, if a cheetah decides to play too rough, or have a bad day, or hurt someone, they are no longer dubbed safe to be interacted with the public. Thus, you have a throwaway animal. Unfortunately for these throwaway animals, only acting on their natural instincts, they are typically put down or euthanized to make room for a more social animal. If we all put all of our time, money, and effort that we do for the captive population of cheetahs into the wild, we could do wonders for the conservation of wild cheetahs. Pima started her life exploited by the public and was then rescued and retired to a nature reserve. However, cheetahs in captivity typically only live up to about 10 years old. Pima is now 15, and this nature reserve did not have the means to take care of an elderly cheetah. We were very happy to rehome Pima to Panthera, Africa, where we can spend the time focusing on her individual needs as an elder. Shaka is one of our youngest lions at 3 years old. Unfortunately, even so young, Shaka was never given the chance to be a free lion because someone purchased him from the pet trade. All around the world, exotic pets have become very popular. They have certainly become a status symbol for the rich and the famous, and people who look up to these role models want to have exotic pets of their own. In the pet trade, we often see that it is the animal who ends up suffering. Depending on where you live in the world will determine what exotic pets are legal to own and how you can properly care for them. Some places have no laws or regulations surrounding the ownership of dangerous animals like lions and tigers. In Shaka's case, he was living with a family in the city of Johannesburg. Now, a lion cub might not seem like much of a threat, but as you can see, Shaka is only 3 years old and he is big. We often see it mirrored, the problems with the exotic pet trade, that we do with domestic animal shelters around the world. When people believe they can own a lion as a pet, they don't realize the money, care, and effort it takes. It also becomes a huge safety risk. And more often than not, once a lion starts to outgrow their tiny, cuddly stages of life, they become too much to handle for the pet owner and are easily discarded. Whether that means put down, sold for their bones and body parts, or sold back to a breeding facility. Panthera Africa was happy to open their doors and hearts to this young cub. We are saddened that because he was too socialized to humans and didn't learn survival skills from his mother or pride, he has no eligibility to be released into the wild. However, we are proud to give him a good home and ensure his safety from the other threats for the rest of his life. We pride ourselves on giving our animals the best care possible. This includes proper nutrition, exercise, veterinary care, and of course, mental stimulation. Enrichment toys are fun for our cats and even for our humans. One of our favorite types of enrichment are our big cat canvas creation paintings. Using water-based, non-toxic paints, our cats love to create beautiful, one-of-a-kind works of art. We feature and sell prints of all of the cats' paintings on our website, so you too can enjoy the art of our big cats. Here you can take a sneak peek at how these beautiful works of art are made. I hope you enjoyed learning all about our big cats and Panthera Africa. You can really help Panthera Africa and our big cats by going to our website, pantheraafrica.com. There you can adopt an animal for a year and help with their enrichment costs, like these beautiful paintings, or you can even help with their food or their general care. Another big thank you for allowing us to be here and share our common mission with all of you and many other organizations towards our common goal of creating a kinder, greener, and happier Earth.
Hi everyone, I'm Videhi. and I am a freshman at the University of Texas at Austin, and I am a national youth leader on the Jane Goodall Institute Roots and Shoots National Youth Leadership Council. And I'm so excited to be here today to talk to you guys about Roots and Shoots and also do a little activity called Tree of Hope with you guys. So I'm really excited, so let's jump into it. So let me just share my slides real quick. All right, so to begin, of course, we're going to be talking about Roots and Shoots, which is kind of the youth division of the Jane Goodall Institute. So Roots and Shoots is a global movement led by young people who turn their passion into action and make real-world change in their communities. This is Roots and Shoots in action. So in this image, you can see new Roots and Shoots members getting to know more about the program at a celebration of service. And this is also Roots and Shoots. So in this image, you can see 3 Roots and Shoots students presenting to Dr. Jane. And this is also Roots and Shoots. So this is a little bit of my work. So in addition to things like organizing recycling initiatives and community cleanups, I recently connected with my passion for writing, and I wrote some children's storybooks about the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle, and other conservation topics. So it was a really exciting thing that I've done as part of the Roots and Shoots community. So what's the story of Roots and Shoots? So this is Dr. Jane Goodall, and she's really an amazing and inspiring person. So even as a young person, Jane Goodall always loved animals. She was determined to study them in the wild and write books about them. She worked hard, saved up money, and at age 26, thanks to her mentor, Dr. Louis Lackey, she arrived in Tanzania to study wild chimpanzees. Jane was the first person to discover that chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, have personalities, compassion, and intelligence, and can make and use tools like humans. And the story behind this is truly amazing. In the summer of 1960, Jane arrived in Gombe, Tanzania with her mother. As a young woman, Jane was not allowed to travel to Tanzania alone. She was required to have a chaperone. After following the chimpanzees and watching them through binoculars from afar, they eventually allowed Jane to come closer. One of the first chimpanzees to allow Jane to observe him was a young male Jane named David Graybeard. In November of 1960, Jane made her famous discovery when she witnessed David Graybeard strip leaves off twigs to place into a termite mound. This is what is now known as termite fishing, evidence of chimpanzee tool use. Before this discovery, scientists considered the making and using of tools to be the defining difference between humans and the other great apes. Jane's discovery opened the door for further insights into our relationship to the rest of the animal kingdom, noting that there is no hard line separating us from other species. Over time, Jane realized that there were many problems facing chimpanzees, humans, and the natural world. She decided to leave the forest and become an activist. Today, she travels 300 days a year, inspiring others to do good. It all began on Jane's Goodall's front porch in Tanzania, when a small group of students discussed how they felt powerless thinking about the problems around them. Poverty, pollution, deforestation, violence, animal testing. There were so many things. It felt overwhelming. Jane encouraged the group to use their voices and ideas to address the issues they saw, things that mattered most to them. Since that day, Roots and Shoots has grown, and there are groups in all 50 states and 60 countries around the world, with changemakers of all ages taking on major issues every single day. Now, what's your story? With the support of Roots and Shoots, young people find, create, and implement the world-changing ideas that matter to them and their communities. Roots and Shoots supports the hard work of its members by providing tools like our 4-step formula, which we'll be covering shortly, as well as resources and opportunities like our mini grant program, National Youth Leadership Council, Project Planning Guide, and much more. Now, we're going to take a look at the 4-step formula that helps Roots and Shoots groups find their next project idea or further develop the project they already want to do. The Roots and Shoots 4-step formula helps develop your skills and Roots and Shoots compassionate traits as you turn your ideas into world-changing projects. Now, the first step is to get engaged. Think about, what are you passionate about? Get inspired by Roots and Shoots projects, themes you care about, connecting with other changemakers, and so much more. The good news is that you all have already done this first step. By watching this today and learning about this program, you have all begun the process of getting engaged with the opportunities and resources available to you. If you want to learn even more about the Roots and Shoots program and how to implement a project, our free online course is a great resource. You can also take the Roots and Shoots quiz. You can get inspired and find out how to best plug into the Roots and Shoots program, and this quiz is on our homepage at rootsandshoots.org. Now, the second step is community mapping. Use the same strategy as Jane Goodall Institute scientists to explore your local community through mapping human, other animal, and environmental challenges and resources. Let's look at an example of how one group used this model to create successful Roots and Shoots projects. The Arroyo High School Roots and Shoots group already knew that they wanted to plant a garden on some unused land at their school. They decided to use community mapping to get to know their area better, even though they had already chosen a project. During the community mapping exercise, the students realized that there was actually a homeless shelter just blocks away from their campus. They decided to build on their idea of a garden by partnering with the shelter so that none of the food they grew would go to waste. They now have been providing the fresh food to the shelter for 3 years. The third step is to take action. Now that you have some ideas for possible projects, it's time to plan and act. Once you have mapped your community and found your project, this is the step to take. This is the time to implement the project or campaign you have designed, and Roots and Shoots can help by providing a $200 mini grant for your project expenses. This step is all about you making a difference in your community. Step 4 is to celebrate all of the successes of your project and reflect on the process you've just gone through. You did it, and you want to make sure to celebrate your efforts by measuring your impact. An important part of step 4 is sharing what you have learned and what you have achieved with your community. You can do this on many online platforms. You can also register your project by signing up at rootsandshoots.org/register. Do you want to get started right away? You can also start with a one-click action. You can take action on a range of issues today at rootsandshoots.org/actions. Now that you've learned about Jane, the Jane Goodall Institute, and Roots and Shoots, it's time for you to take over and take action. You're now equipped with the tools you need and are ready to build your own project to make a difference in your community, and Roots and Shoots is here to help. Remember, every day you have the power to be bold, be kind, and do good for people, other animals, and the environment we all share. Now, that was a little bit about Roots and Shoots. Now we're going to be moving on to our activity, which is called the Tree of Hope. So this activity is all about visualizing the support structure that holds up your hopes and dreams. So a little overview of what this activity encompasses. In this activity, you will draw a tree that will illustrate the root structure that supports you, the important people, things, and experiences that give you a foundation in life. And the shoots or limbs that represent the hopes and dreams you are branching out toward in your life. Start imagining your tree now and keep it in your mind as we keep going. Now for this activity, you're going to want to make sure you have some paper, a pen or a pencil, and if you want, some colored pencils, some markers, or some crayons. All right, so let's get started. The first step is we need to talk about what's in a name. Where does the name Roots and Shoots come from? So here's a little quote from Dr. Jane Goodall. Roots creep underground to make a firm foundation. Shoots seem new and small, but to reach the light, they can break through brick walls. Now we're going to watch a little video of Dr. Jane explaining the Roots and Shoots name origin. So here's that.
The reason that Roots and Shoots has its name, it's symbolic. So I always ask people to imagine their favorite big tree and then to think about how that tree began. It began its life as a little seed. So I think of an English oak, an acorn. And when that acorn began to grow, little white roots appear and a little tiny shoot, and you can pick it up, and it seems so tiny, so frail, so weak, and yet there is a magic and a life force in that seed, so strong, so powerful, that those little roots to reach the water can break through rocks and eventually knock them aside. And that little shoot to reach the sunlight can work its way through cracks in a brick wall and eventually knock it down. So we see the rocks and the walls as all the problems we humans have inflicted on poor old planet Earth, environmental and social. And Roots and Shoots is about hope. Hundreds and thousands of young people around the world can break through and can make this a better world.
All right, now the next step is we're going to be talking about Dr. Jane and her Tree of Hope. So we've already learned about Dr. Jane, and we've learned about her dreams, her accomplishments, her discoveries, and what she does now. So this is just a little recap of all of that. And now let's take a look at Dr. Jane's Tree of Hope. So this is Dr. Jane's Tree of Hope. So let's look at this little description here. Dr. Jane chose to draw a special beech tree from her childhood home in England. Notice how she labeled the roots with her support systems and the shoots with her hopes and interests. As you look at her tree, think about your own tree, a type of tree that has special meaning to you, and how you would label your own tree. Are there any parts of Dr. Jane's tree that especially speak to you? What parts of your tree might differ from Dr. Jane's? So if we take a look at Dr. Jane's tree, we can see that some of her roots are books, history, family, music, and then some of her shoots are share, peace, respect for life, and there are a few others for both roots and shoots, but kind of think about how Dr. Jane's tree would relate to your own hopes and interests and your own support systems. And that's actually our activity for today. So let's move forward. So now we're going to be planting our own trees of hope. So the first step is going to be choosing what kind of tree we'll draw and describing it on our piece of paper. So to help you decide on a tree that best fits you, think about what trees have special meaning to you. Maybe what climate your tree is from, and if it's evergreen, fruit-bearing, or seasonal. So to kind of help you with that, I'm going to give you my answer to this question. So I would choose a mango tree because I love mangoes. They're my favorite fruit. And mango trees are indigenous to India, which means that they're from India, and I'm from India too. So that's a little example of kind of the thought process you want to use when you're picking your tree. And so now to pick your tree, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time by using this little bean sprout as a timer. So this is a little time lapse of a bean sprouting, kind of relating to what Dr. Jane said about the power of roots and growing. So yeah, you're gonna have a little under 3 minutes to pick your tree. All right, so let's begin. All right, so now that you've got what kind of tree you're going to draw, we're going to move on to the next step. And that is to make a list of your roots. Your roots come from the things that support or interest you. So consider the people or programs that support and inspire you, the sources you learn from, and where you go to find comfort and guidance. So once again, I'll show you my list of roots as an example. So my roots would be my mom, my dad, my little brother, my grandparents, my teachers, the Roots and Shoots NYLC, my friends, and my university. So these are all things that support me, that interest me, and they're all people or programs that I gain inspiration from, I learn from, and where I find comfort and guidance. So once again, for you to make your list of roots, we're going to put on the same kind of growth timer. And yeah, you're going to be able to make your list of roots on your piece of paper. So let's begin. All right, now that you've had a little bit of time to make your list of roots, we're going to move on to the next step, which is going to be making a list of your shoots. So your shoots are the things that you're passionate about or you want to explore more. So to help you brainstorm this list, consider what you have been or are currently passionate about, what dreams you have for the future, and who shares those dreams. And of course, once again, I'm going to share my example to help you generate yours. So my shoots are environmentalism, helping others and volunteering, girls in STEM, computer science, and business. So these are all things that I'm really passionate about or want to learn more about. So of course, environmentalism, volunteering, and encouraging more girls to learn about STEM. These are things I'm really passionate about. And computer science and business are my majors in college, and I'm really interested in learning more about them. So once again, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to make your list of shoots on your piece of paper, and we're going to have the same little beat timer. So once again, let's begin. All right, now that you've had a little bit of time to make your list of shoots, let's move on to the next step, which is going to be drawing and labeling your tree. So you're going to be putting all of your reflections together as you create a visual of your tree, showing off all those things that matter most to you. So first, we're going to look at a few examples. So of course, there's Dr. Jane's Tree of Hope. And as you can see, she's written her shoots on the shoots of the tree, and she's written her roots on the roots of the tree. And then I'm going to show you one more example, which is going to be my own example. So I've got my mango tree, and on the roots, I've got all of the things that I listed as my roots. And then on the shoots, I've got all of the things that I listed as shoots. So now, since this might take a little bit longer, I'm actually going to give you guys 2 sets of timers. So we're going to have the bean timer, and then we're going to have a little spinach timer. So take some time, grab your piece of paper, if you grab a pen, if you want to add some color, feel free to use some of that, and just draw and label your tree with your roots and your shoots. All right, and you may begin. Don't worry, you guys still have more time. I'm going to start the second timer now. All right, so let's begin. All right, now that you've had the time to draw and label your tree, let's see what the next step is. Let's celebrate! Now that you've made this amazing tree of hope that really represents all the important things in your life and all of the systems that uphold you and all of the dreams and aspirations that you have, we need to celebrate. So give yourself a little pat on the back, a little round of applause for really making this amazing connection with yourself, and realizing all the different people and different areas of things you might not have thought of before that really play into who you are and who you want to become. Now, before we close out for today, we want to just remind you that if you would like to, you're absolutely encouraged to share your tree of hope with all of us at Roots and Shoots. And to do so, you can just share your work on social media and tag @Roots and Shoots for a chance to even be featured. So of course, this is not mandatory, but if you would like to, feel free. So you can tag @Roots and Shoots. All right, and now before we close out, I'd love to kind of show you guys this really beautiful poem that's narrated by Dr. Jane that kind of comments on, the times that we're in right now. It's really beautiful and really moving, so I'd just love to kind of close out our amazing session today with this poem. So let's do that. Oh, we got an ad. Sorry about that, guys. Well, unfortunately, sometimes we get ads, but here's our poem.
It starts as a whisper, a word on the air. It can't quite be heard, but you know that it's there. As gentle as sunlight, as tenacious as hail, in its route to the heart, it could not but prevail. And the people looked up from their day-to-day tasks, their day-to-day jobs, their day-to-day masks. They heard, or they felt, where the whisper could lead, and they looked with eyes wide at what that might mean. And once they could see it, they hadn't a chance to resist the sweet song of the deep spell it cast. But the feeling it brought them at first glance was pain, as they lifted their eyes on the land they had claimed, since they saw at last, as if raised from a dream, they were almost alone in the land and the sea. But the trees had almost gone, and the bees had almost gone, and the creatures in their shells by the seas had almost gone, and the people felt sad as they saw their new earth, but they knew this was it, one wild chance for rebirth. Breaking new ground, seeds rolling down, smell of the earth on your hands and your brow. No time to sorrow, we're building tomorrow. The sound of things growing now keeps us around. As the wildness grows, and the deep wood grows, and the sense that the future's come to meet you grows, there's no chance we can rest. We must do our best. This moment can lead us back home. That's our test. Starts as a whisper, a word on the air. It can't quite be heard, but you know that it's there. It then spoke like thunder until we all moved, and we could, and we did, and it's done. She's renewed.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was really beautiful and kind of shows that even though things may look bleak, we always need to keep hope and keep moving forward. And that's what Roots and Shoots is all about. So if you'd like to stay in touch with us here at Roots and Shoots, be sure to follow us. We're at Roots and Shoots. And for the Jane Goodall Institute, it's at Jane Goodall, INST. And you can also visit our website, rootsandshoots.org. And that's all for today's session. I had an amazing time getting to interact with all you guys virtually, and I hope you had an amazing time as well. And that's it. Thank you, take care, and be safe.